Hey learning friends, welcome to Hip Hughes History. Today we're going to take a look at the controversial subject of abortion, considering in 2019 over a dozen states have passed regulatory or restrictive bills regarding abortion, including recently we had Georgia and Ohio pass what were called fetal heartbeat bills, which ban the procedure after 6 weeks, in many cases women not even knowing that they're pregnant up to 6 weeks. But we're really going to look at today House Bill 314 coming out of the great state of Alabama, which is called the Alabama Human Life Protection Act, just signed the other day by Governor Kay Ivey. Now this bill takes it to the next level where it's just going to ban all abortions, just all abortions, they're banned. But obviously that's controversial across the country. So we're going to take a look at not only what the bill says, but what are going to be the repercussions, what's going to come next. And then we'll let you, the viewer, decide by leaving like YouTubes and comments down below. Getting up to the learning. Representative Terry Collins, and remember Alabama is a very deep red state. They have a Republican governor, a Republican House, and a Republican Senate. But it's really clear what the aim of this bill is, which is to overturn Roe versus Wade. The sponsor, Terry Collins, said so, that's exactly what they're trying to do in this bill. But basically what the bill does is it bans all abortions, even in cases of rape and incest. The only abortions you'd be allowed to get would be cases where it's provable that the life of the mother is endangered or she's going to suffer some great bodily harm. Ectopic pregnancies and pregnancies which the fetus is not viable, those would be allowed as well. But it does ban all other abortions starting from the very beginning as soon as a woman misses her period. Now, of course, to be able to understand all of this, you really need to understand Roe versus Wade. We have a video on Roe versus Wade, so you might want to watch that first. It's down in the description below. But the very, very basic idea is that Roe versus Wade allows every woman in America to be able to choose to have an abortion if she chooses to, up to 20 weeks. And they basically use a few arguments. They use Fourth Amendment, they use Ninth Amendment, they use 14th Amendment. But basically the idea is that until the baby can live outside of the womb, it's viable on its own, that, she has that right to choose. And secondly, they say that basically states can't cause an undue burden in order to impede women from being able to get an abortion if they want. But that's what's up for grabs right now. Now, it does go into some rationales in the bill, kind of explaining why they're doing this. And it really kind of centers on a couple ideas. Number one, it really talks about kind of the science and how science has progressed a lot since 1973. And we have fetal heartbeats that can be measured very early. We also have really powerful ultrasounds that visually show how the baby is becoming a human being. But they're really resting on this idea that it is a human being. They reference a lot of previous law in Alabama, including an amendment to their constitution, and some laws back in the 70s that include definitions for homicide, which include unborn babies and fetuses, and previous laws which are unenforceable because of Roe versus Wade. It also talks about the Declaration of Independence and how, all human beings have this unalienable right to equality in human life. It references the American Civil Rights Movement. It references women's suffrage. It references the Nuremberg trials as kind of this idea that, if you believe in that equality idea, that it doesn't matter what everybody else says, that you're going to fight for it tooth and nail. Now, some other sections, it goes into kind of operational definitions about what a medical emergency is, but it also goes into holocausts. It references the Jewish Holocaust, where 6 million died. It references the gulags of Stalin, where 3 million died. It references the genocides in Cambodia and Rwanda. And then it goes on to say that 50 million unborn babies have been killed since 1973, and this is way more than those other holocausts and a genocide, so we need to do something about it. And as part of the rationale, it also brings up women's rights. And it says that this so-called argument of women's rights is totally outshadowed by the rights of that unborn baby and basically having a right to live. That's where they're resting their argument. Now, Bobby Singleton, a Democrat, brought up an amendment that said, well, wait a minute, what about rape and incest? We should at least leave for exceptions for those two things. And the Republican-dominated legislature said, no way, Jose, we're going to ban all abortions. And again, Terry Collins, who sponsored this bill, basically said that they wanted to get it in front of the Supreme Court, and that was the reason why they were doing this. Now, the bill doesn't kick in for 6 months from yesterday when the governor signed it, so there's plenty of time in there for appeals. So what does that mean, and what are the next steps? Why don't we take a look at that right now? So we have a split Supreme Court in this country. It's a 5-4 court, conservative, with Anthony Kennedy, who was really a swing vote on a lot of abortion cases, retiring and being replaced by Brett Kavanaugh. There is a feeling amongst many of these red states that now is the time to overturn Roe versus Wade. Now, a lot of legal scholars believe that the Alabama bill will never get to the Supreme Court. It's called the rule of 4. You need 4 justices to take it on. And Roberts and some of the other justices who are conservative had said they're a little hesitant about overturning precedent, meaning overturning a big case like Roe versus Wade. Maybe they'll take on another case. John Roberts surprised everybody by stopping a bill in Louisiana during the appeal process, which was basically meant to kind of put an undue burden on women by saying that a physician had to be attending within 30 miles in order to perform an abortion. And Roberts sided with the 4 liberals and saying, well, we really need to rethink that and kind of hear the case and stop that law. So what will happen next? Well, it's going to go to a district federal court of appeals, and chances are they're going to look at precedent and they're going to say, no way, Jose, you can't do that. And what Alabama, of course, hopes happens is that 4 justices are going to take that case, and that would be the case that would overturn Roe versus Wade. Now, immediately, most political scientists believe that 20 states out of the 50 would ban abortions. You wouldn't be able to get them anymore. But in states like California, New York, and blue states, you'd still be able to get an abortion. But that's where we are right now. It looks like we're going to take it to the limit, and it looks like we're going to put this thing to the test. So what do you guys think? That's what the comments down below are for. Have a nice civil discussion. Obviously, it's very controversial. Emotions get heated. But at the end of the day, we're Americans. We can do this. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys right now. I think that's enough, don't you think? Thanks for watching. You know what I'm going to say, because I say it at the end of every video, because I mean it with all my heart. Where attention goes, energy flows. We'll see you, my learned friends, next time you press my button.